Everyone, welcome to the MSU Wealth Management Association podcast. I'm Justin Halvorson. With me today is my co-host, Justin Jackson. Today we are going to introduce ourselves, tell you a little bit about what the show is about. So, Justin, could you start us off here? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Justin Jackson. I was born and raised here in East Lansing, Michigan. So I'm a Michigan State baby. My mom is actually an accounting professor here at Michigan State, and my dad is an executive at MSU Federal Credit Union. So my roots are very deep in financial Michigan State, East Lansingness. Originally, I came to Michigan State to study accounting. After about a year, realized that wasn't my beat 100%, so I actually took a gap year to just go out in the real world and get some real experience. I started a website company. I still kind of run it on the side. It's just a little side hustle now, but I learned a lot about business then. Over that time, I was introduced to a couple financial advisors, and they're the ones that really took me under their wing and taught me some stuff about business. After working with them for a while, I realized, hey, this might be something I want to pursue for a career. I knew websites wasn't going to be the end all be all, but the financial services industry really appealed to me. Once I decided I wanted to be a financial advisor, I discovered the Michigan State Financial Planning Wealth Management Program, came back to Michigan State, met Steven Schiestel, and from there, the rest has kind of been history. I've been working for a small RA called Financial MD here in Lansing, and studying for the CFP exam.
Nice, man. That is, can't wait to take that CFP. I bet it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think it's going to be so much fun.
That's what they all say. Better than the CFA, though. I don't know. I've heard the CFA is the real pain.
Yeah, the CFA is brutal. It's like essentially like 3 CFP exams back to back. So CFA is a little rough. So
I'm Justin Halvorson. I am from the Metro Detroit area. I'm grew up in Bloomfield Hills, 17 Mile Road in Adams, if anybody's familiar with that area. I am a graduate of Seaholm High School. I actually graduated high school in 2012, so you guys can do the math on how old I am. So after high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I went to Central briefly, was a sociology major, but didn't really feel that was the right path for me. So went to the workforce for a few years, actually worked property management. So lived above a apartment complex here in Lansing, managed the complex, did all the fun stuff. So while I was there, I started taking classes at LCC, Lansing Community College, for those of you who are not familiar. But started taking classes there in business. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. First, I thought I wanted to do accounting, but then took some accounting classes, decided that was not for me also, and decided to try to get into Michigan State. So applied to Michigan State, got in, was looking around at all the different programs that they offered, and I met Steve Schiestel also. He has a great skill for just motivating you about his program and about financial planning and wealth management. So I sat in on when he was speaking to a club one day, and he totally sold me on all the opportunities. So I decided I wanted to get to the wealth management program pretty much as soon as I got to campus. So just kind of have dived in from there. Been part of the club for a couple of years, and now I'm going into my third year, my senior year at MSU, and really excited for it.
So, Justin, what are you trying to accomplish this year as president? Podcast is kind of a strange thing for a school club to do, and that's not something a lot of people are doing. What's the motive behind us trying to do this podcast, and what else are we trying to push this year in WMA to really make this a good club?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I'd start off by giving a big shout out to you, Justin, because you're the one who approached me with this idea. So I frankly love podcasts. I listen to them all the time myself. But you approached me. You're on our executive board. This is going to be your first year. So welcome. We're really excited to have you. And yeah, we are in a member relations role. So I think the original idea, and correct me if I'm wrong, was you wanted to just figure out more ways to engage our members. And I think a podcast was a great idea. And it was the way I remember you pitching it to me was, we're just trying to figure out why a student would want to be a financial advisor. And we're doing it by contacting current advisors who, from partners to advisors who've been in the field for 2 or 3 years, and just talking to them and trying to figure out why a Michigan State student would even want a career as a financial advisor.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. And financial advising is such a vast industry. Like there's so many different types of companies. It's kind of hard to tell, you know, what's right for you, what's the right thing to do in general. Like, there's different interests from insurance to investments to estate planning. There's a lot of things involved in the financial planning world. So, we're hoping that we can get a bunch of different perspectives on this podcast. Our members will have a better understanding of the field at large.
just finishing off that, man, dude, it's so important because, like, I know when I came onto campus, frankly, I didn't know what the hell all these different fields were, right? Like, it takes me, like, being involved in the club, being involved in the program here on campus, like, talking to Steve Schiestel, having conversations with people like you, because you're right, it's such a broad field. Finance itself is already so broad. Like, accounting, quite frankly, kind of has its lanes. Like, you can get into accounting fields. You're not going to, like, and not as a knock, but it's so much more rigid. There's more lanes. Where finance, man, you have to really find what is going to work for you. So
so I'm reading a book called History of Financial Planning right now. Basically, they talk about how, like, accounting was born in Mesopotamia, so it's been around for a long time, and financial planning was born in, like, the 80s by insurance salesmen and accountants that kind of got together and made it a thing. So yeah, financial planning is a new field. It's new to a lot of business colleges and stuff like that. So we really want Michigan State to be a pioneering university in this field.
It is, and we're one of less than 200 programs. I think there's like 197 colleges that actually offer a CFP program, something like ours. So very rare.
Yeah.
So what about you, Justin? So what do you want to accomplish this year? I know things have changed. We're recording this here right before classes start, but what are you looking to accomplish in your role?
Yeah, so basically, I want to build significant relationship capital in the Michigan State community. There's tons of successful financial advisors that have come out of Michigan State, but originally they didn't start in a financial advising program. That didn't exist before. They probably came from communications. My boss went to Michigan State. He was a psychology major and got up his master's in psychology and later became a financial advisor. So, we have an extensive Spartan network that I think is not conjoined yet, untapped, that is totally just right at our fingertips. And I really want to be at the forefront of bringing all these advisors from the Michigan State community together. So that's my number one goal. And then along with my membership relations type position, I want to really encourage engagement with the student body, get them involved because, financial advising is a people business. So if we can get a lot of people connected that are going to pursue the same thing, I think that'd be invaluable later on in my career. So that's the selfish reason why I really want to see MSU WMA grow and our financial planning program grow at large. What
awesome to hear, man. I mean, sometimes selfish motivations are the best ones, quite frankly. So what would you like to accomplish after you graduate from MSU CFP program? You said that you wanted to take the CFP exam, which, again, good luck to that. But, what do you have any idea on what your career looks like after you graduate?
Yeah, I definitely want to manage my own book of business someday. Now, there's a million paths to become a financial advisor with a serious book of business. I mean, you could go a more traditional sales route. Like traditionally, it's been sell to your friends and family, learn insurance, and then build up and eventually become more on the advising side, or take a more operational approach and climb. From the kind of the back end, learn the infrastructure of the business, learn the technical skills, and then go out and sell yourself. So, the how is still to be determined. I'm still trying to figure that out at this moment. Hopefully, talking to a bunch of advisors will really help me figure that out. But yeah, eventually, long term, I'd like to be a financial advisor and manage a book of people that I really like to work with. So that's kind of the goal.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. What about you? What's your goal? What are you hoping to accomplish with this career-wise?
Yeah, very similar to you, man. I know I always wanted a career where, like, quite frankly, independence in my life is key. I know that sounds, I don't know, like I might still sound like an 18-year-old kid when I say that, but sitting here, like I still think that's really important to me. And this kind of career, you do have to work hard. You definitely have to burn the midnight oil when that time comes, but What's really important to me is like you said, you can build your own book of business, which is important. You can be entrepreneurial,
Mhm.
which allows you flexibility. So that's why I like this, and so that's why I'm pursuing this. So long term, what I'm pursuing is a book of business for myself. I'm actually accepted an offer working for an accounting firm, Plant Moran, working in their financial advising department. And fortunately, they have like a track program where you get put on a path to eventually have your own book of business. So my like you said, the how is still a little to be determined. Mine might be a little bit different than somebody like yours, but I'm kind of on that track path to accomplish the same thing ultimately. So the that's why I'm involved.
And so it's funny you talk about like being entrepreneurial and building your own book of business. The reason why I really got introduced to this was because of my uncle, right? And my uncle is a financial advisor for AXA in the Detroit area. He sat me down and he says, Justin, you have a problem with the C word. And I was like, what does that mean? He's like, control. It's like you like to have control of your situation. And that's right. Like, and that's why financial advising is such a great career, because in the long run, you eventually do control, what days you work, who you work with. It's a very good entrepreneurial career, and I think for the younger people listening to this who are thinking about this career, think about if you like freedom. That's a good thing about the career path of being a financial advisor. Is eventually you get to build freedom. You can take Fridays off if you like to work Sunday mornings. You want to get a little bit of work in Sunday morning. That's the time of day you feel like you're not really using anyways. Work Sunday morning, take your Fridays off, go hang out with friends. I've met so many senior advisors who, get off work Thursday night, go up to the cottage and come back, rolling around noon on Monday. But that's because they put in the hard work. There's still hard work, but eventually you do get that control and that freedom of opportunity later in life. So
That's awesome. And I think something important to point out too is like it's one of those careers where, hey, like it or not, but your work is going to kind of bleed with your personal life. So I consider that a good thing. So it's working when I'm going out to these networking events, right? And I'm going out and I'm meeting new people. That's work, right? Meeting new friends, having great conversations, learning new things. That's work, right? Like I get to get paid for that ultimately. So I like that. That's a big thing for me as well. So yeah, man, it's great to hear that control. I've never heard it put that way, but I agree with your uncle. I agree with him.
yeah, we both have enough OCD. I think that that this really helped me determine that this field was right for me. Because you have to manage your own time at the end of the day. If you're going to build your own book and you're in control of your schedule, well, you need to be, in charge of yourself. You got to hold yourself accountable. I mean, it sounds nice to take the weekend off, but that doesn't mean it's a lounge around type of job. It's still a tough job. That means Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you're still putting in hard work in this field. But it seems to be very rewarding, and that's why I'm really shooting for this whole financial advising thing to work out.
Dude, that's awesome. And there's such like a it's not the law of diminishing returns. It'd be like the exact opposite of that, right? Like you put all the hard work in early and you get so much on the back end. So like talking, college students, it's, whatever, thinking 20 years down the line, we're not all thinking about that. But,
Right.
If you are, know that you put the 5 years in right out of school, like that 20 years down the road, you're going to look back and go, wow, I'm so glad I did that. Cause it's not to say that you're coasting, it's still hard work, but
Yeah.
you can definitely front load the work in your career. It's one of those careers. And once you build that book for yourself, it's about managing it. So that's another thing I like.
Yeah. I mean, so I think what you're getting is like the exponential return on your time. Because eventually people start to know who you are. You start to become more confident. You start to know what you're doing. Something that's been presented to me is like there's kind of a 3-year rule where it takes like year one, you don't really know what's going on at all. You're just trying to figure out like the ins and outs. You don't even know what the pieces are, and it's tough. And so I'm about at the year one mark, and my experience that it's taken me about a year to really understand what's happening in the first place. And then, year two, you start to really figure it out. You start to make a little bit more money because you know what's happening, so you know how to play the game. Year three, it really starts to pick up, and if you make it through year three, then you're never going to retire, is what they say, because that exponential return starts to kick in, and you just realize like the bang for your buck you get for time for your money, as far as like as far as a career goes. So that's something that's really interesting, and so far that's held true in my personal experience.
That's cool to hear, man, because like there's so many people who work toward retirement, but then you just heard you say like there's people who are like, I'm never going to retire. That's it right there, right? That's it. So so can you tell us a little bit about your journey, man? Because like you know, you're not like every college student at Eli Broad. It sounds like you're currently working in the field.
Yeah. So I'm taking about 1 extra year to get through college. So I mean, I'm doing a 4-year degree in 5 years. But basically, in the middle of my sophomore year, I decided, I needed some real world experience. I thought I liked business, but I needed to go out and do business to figure out if I really liked it. So, about a year in, I took the leap. I started my own little web company, and there's a lot of parallels between, building your own web consulting business and being a financial advisor, building, your own book of business. And so I've in the process of networking as a website guy. I met some financial advisors. They took me under their wing. They said, we can create a position for you. And so for about the past year now, I've been working as basically a junior advisor, 30 hours a week, taking 9 credits at Michigan State, which is a lot different than taking 15 and then working during the summer. I've taken 9 credits at a time and worked about 30 hours. So it's been this great thing where I'm like, have all of the comforts and low expectations of being a college kid, but really have gotten to build my expertise like a professional 1 year into the business. So I've learned a lot over the last year. I would definitely compare my understanding of the business to about somebody's 1 year out of college, which has been kind of a blessing. It's been really hard, but I really enjoyed it. And I know for sure that's a good thing too, is like, I'll be graduating knowing for sure that this is what I want to do, because I've already put the time in to really test it out and see if it's the career fit for me.
That's so important, because how many kids walk into their first year of their career and then they leave, right? Like I've heard so many people who maybe go into an internship or they get a job and 1 year in, they're like, this isn't what I want to do. So you've got a leg up on a lot of people, man.
Well, yeah, but I'm also going to be a year older than everybody else graduating too. So, there's pros and cons to each. I'm a big fan of the gap year path. I'm glad I took that. I'm glad I took some time before coming back to college. But yeah, if anything, it's made me deeply, deeply appreciative of the financial planning program. Stephen Schiestel for taking us under his wing and really helping us grow our careers. That's really an advantage of going to Michigan State and being part of this program that, I would not have had otherwise, even if I were just to go straight into the field and not have completed college. It's not, it's really hard to compete with this level of expertise and network, at your back.
Yeah. That's where we're a little similar, man. Like I feel as though if, I took my time off myself. I took time off myself, and like the appreciation, like you said, I don't know if I would have fully understood the opportunities that are like presented, before us. I wouldn't come back. So that's great to hear, man. The MSU Wealth Management Association is a student organization at the Eli Broad College of Business at Michigan State, aimed at training the next generation of financial advisors. We have close ties with the university's new CFP Certified Financial Planning program, which fulfills the educational requirement needed to sit for the CFP exam. Our club hosts weekly meetings Tuesday nights at 6:30 p.m. via Microsoft Teams. Information for all those meetings, including the Teams links and our guest speaker series, can be found on our website, msuwma.com. If you're a student looking to get involved in the wealth management program or our student organization, please fill out the membership form on our website. And if you are a financial services professional looking to get involved in our program or our club in any way, please email msuwma@gmail.com. If you like the show today and would like to keep hearing our podcast, please leave us a 5-star review and hit subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and YouTube. We'll see you guys next week.